I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight for the Hardin County United presentation about unified government possibilities here for Hardin County. First, I'd like to thank the Hardin County School System and the Performing Arts Center for making this facility available to you and to us tonight so that we can have this presentation and discussion about this issue. My name is Ken Howard. I am a circuit judge here in Hardin County as a day job. My interest in government in Hardin County goes back further than my service as your judge. I was county attorney here for 25 years, and so I've worked closely with almost all of the units, local units of government here in Hardin County for that period of time. With me today, who will also be making a presentation, is Luke Schmidt from L.B. Schmidt and Associates, who is the consultant for this project on behalf of Hardin County United. We want to begin a discussion tonight about do we want to think about unified government for Hardin County. Now, the first thing I tell you tonight and the last thing that I'll tell you tonight is this. The Hardin County United group cannot create unified government. The Hardin County Fiscal Court, the city councils of each of the cities in Hardin County cannot create unified government. The only way unified government can occur in this state and in most states is through the people. It has to be voted on by you. That is the only group that gets to decide whether or not we have unified government. We call that democracy in this country. Everybody gets the same vote, one, on this particular issue. So I need you to understand that. This is the beginning of the discussion of what would unified government look like. Should we consider going forward with that process that would lead to ultimately the voters of Hardin County deciding, yes, we want to do this. No, we do not want to do this. And that's the way it should happen. Now, what we're going to do for the next few minutes is talk about several subjects. And Luke is going to do some of these in the beginning, and then I will conclude the presentation. First, we're going to talk about how did we get here to where we are today. I think it's important for you to understand what we're saying today is to also understand how we got to this point today. Then we're going to talk about Hardin County's existing government structures, okay? Then we will talk about what are the unified government structures that are possible in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And then we will go briefly over with you a unified government case studies that we have performed, that Luke performed on behalf of Hardin County United for communities both here in Kentucky and outside of Kentucky, okay? We didn't want to just limit ourselves in thinking about this to what is currently happening in Kentucky. We wanted to look outside of Kentucky as well. And then I will come back up to conclude the presentation to talk to you about what is the path forward, what is the next steps if the voters are going to express their wishes on this particular issue for our community. Now, we have tons of information and paperwork. It is all available on this website, www.hardincountyunited.com. So we encourage you to go to that website so that you can get more information about this subject, because the best decision will be whatever is the most informed decision. And whatever that decision is, then will be good for our community. With this, I'm going to try to keep on time here and turn it over to Luke Schmidt.
Great. Thank you, Judge Howard. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm going to run through kind of the middle part of this overall presentation and talk about some of the research that's been conducted on unified government and how it might be available for Hardin County and what some of the benefits might be. And to kind of start this discussion, what I want to do is just, first of all, position where the community is at this point in time, which I think everybody in the room probably already knows. But it's really an exciting time for Hardin County, and there's no question about it. 7,500 plus new jobs at Fort Knox with the base realignment, and I believe Colonel Schwartz's most recent town hall meeting indicated that when you count the direct and indirect jobs, both inside and outside of the gate, it's actually just under 10,000 that they're expecting. So that's a wonderful number, and there are a lot of communities around the country that would love to be where Hardin County and the Elizabethtown MSA is at this point in time. And because of all this growth, the MSA has really moved up in the rankings nationally. It's the first MSA in Kentucky to move from recession to recovery. It led all of the Kentucky MSAs in job growth over the past year. The MSA ranked 4th nationally in income growth, which is a tremendous number, 16th nationally out of 390 metros in terms of job potential. If you don't already know, the Elizabethtown MSA ranks ahead of places like Dallas and San Antonio in terms of potential for job growth, which is very, very positive. And it's the only MSA that's expected to return to pre-recession 2008 peak employment numbers this year. None of the other Kentucky MSAs are expected to be there until probably 2012 or 2013 at the earliest. Lots of construction, tremendous potential. So as Judge Howard said, he asked the question, how did we get here? It all started last year with the Vision Project that Hardin County government commissioned, and again, that was an offshoot from BRAC. The intent was to capitalize on the community's growth, identify strengths and weaknesses, maximize the efficiencies, look for the growth opportunities, and establish some strategic goals. And as part of that process, over 100 community leaders were surveyed with a very extensive, very detailed survey on a lot of issues. And we had about a 72-73% response rate, so it was really a pretty good indicator of where the community thought processes are. That project, as well as this project, have been fully funded by the Department of Defense and their Office of Economic Adjustment. Now, in the visioning process, as a quick reminder, there were 4 overarching goals that came from that process. The first is a desire to unify the community in order to leverage its size, and you'll see more about that and hear more about that in just a minute. Secondly, is a desire to speak with one community voice. The people that participated in the process, and they came from all over Hardin County, and they were keeping the community, in this case, defined as Hardin County in mind. Third was a desire to eliminate duplication and improve efficiency, and then fourth, more efficiently promote the community to create new jobs. So that was the real theme, unification. We asked 2 questions in the survey process about local government and the multiple layers of government in Hardin County. The first question was, how effective is the current system? 26% thought that the current system worked just fine. 74% thought that the system had entirely too much duplication. The second question that dealt with this issue asked, do you feel that the community is best served as it is currently configured when it comes to the delivery of government services, or should some form of consolidation be considered? In this case, 10% said the present system works just fine. And then 90% said no, some form of consolidation should be considered, or it should be studied. So 90% said, let's look at the pool and see how deep it is, and then perhaps take a dive and see what it is. After the Vision Project concluded, Hardin County United was formed. It was formed with a specific purpose of examining all of the 24 strategic goals that were established and to prioritize those goals and to put an implementation strategy next to those goals that they felt were worthy of more formal consideration. And because of this unification theme that kept coming up over and over and over, the HCU commissioned a study of unified government and retained my company for that purpose. As we started this process of looking into unified government, Judge Howard, as chair of the governance subcommittee, tasked the whole committee and really all of HCU by invoking what everybody has referred to as the Mayflower concept. And I think it was a great way to really start this whole process. And what Judge Howard said was, first of all, imagine that all 105,000 people that currently live in Hardin County arrived on the shore of either the Ohio River or the Nolin River. He gave us a choice of rivers in this case. And he said, instead of the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock, he said, imagine that you're on the shores of the Ohio or the Nolin, and out in front of you is this geographic area that is known as Hardin County. And the question that he asked us, he said, how would you govern that area? Would you go ahead and establish a county government? Would you go ahead and establish the 6 city governments? Or would you maybe do it a different way? In other words, start with a clean slate and see where it goes. And so that's really how we've approached this whole thing. Specific project goals and objectives. First, to examine the existing government structure here. Secondly, to conduct an analysis of key local issues. Third, examine unified government structures, how they work in Kentucky. Then lastly, take a look at 5 communities that have already been through this process to learn what works and what doesn't. Let's start with the existing government structure. First of all, Hardin County today is home to 94 government jurisdictions, county departments, city departments, utilities, official boards, and commissions to govern 105,000 people. And that's a lot of entities to take care of 105,000 people. On a combined general fund basis, the community supports a budget of $62.5 million with 774 full-time workers. Now that is adding up the general fund portion of the budgets of the Hardin Fiscal Court and the 6 cities and all of their full-time workers. That does not include capital expenditures or things like sewer plant expansions or things of that nature. It's just the day-to-day, what does it cost to run the government in the 6 cities and the county? And it averages out to about 7.3 workers per 1,000 citizens. And comparatively speaking, that's a relatively low number both in terms of the tax rates, the tax revenues, and the number of public workers. It's a good number. When you look at places like Philadelphia that are loaded down with people, loaded down with tax burden, very costly places to live and to do businesses. Obviously, differences exist between the communities in terms of size, revenue, sources of revenue, the types of services that they provide. Now, the next 3 or 4 slides I'm going to kind of roll through pretty quickly. All of this is online in the full study, which you can read if you'd like on HardinCountyUnited.com. But you can see we have 7 administrative branches. We have 3 engineering departments, 14 fire departments to serve a community of 105,000 people, 3 engineering departments, and so forth. 2 parks and recreation departments, 3 planning departments. And again, none of this is intended to sound as a criticism, and it's not a criticism, but it is pointing out the fact that really the community has grown into a kind of a fragmented sense, and that's the thing that we kind of want to take a look at. In terms of the budgets, it ranges from $27 million for the county to $72,000 for the town of Sonora, and you can kind of see how that ranges across there. And again, I would encourage you, if you want to dig into the details, please visit the website and have a look at the numbers. So after looking at all this, and again, taking into account that there are 94 units of, or entities of government here, that in spite of the fragmented manner in which the community has developed, there really has, in the last few years, developed an what's emerging now is a significant urban core in the community. This map is based on the 2010 census. It was put together by the staff at Lincoln Trail Area Development District using GIS data. And what it shows is that out of the 105,000 people that live in Hardin County, 85,000 live in this yellow shaded area outside the gate at Fort Knox. Really extends from Glendale through Cecilia, Rineyville, Elizabethtown, up to Vine Grove, and Radcliffe, of course. And it's unlike a lot of cities that develop perhaps more in a circular manner. This is developed into more of a linear area. But the most important fact here is that if you took the boundaries down, you would easily have Kentucky's 3rd largest city that lives in this area. And here's how it would compare. First of all, if you just took the 3 towns of Elizabethtown, Radcliffe, and Vine Grove within the city limits, you would have almost 55,000 people in a square mileage area of about 43, and it would rank 5th in the state in terms of population. If you had unification, including the unincorporated areas, you would have the 85,000 people that I mentioned, easily the 3rd largest city in the state. And so that's really one of the things that can be leveraged here and harnessed is this power. So let's talk for a moment about unified government structures in Kentucky.